Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back, Maverick family. Tonight we have a story of war. And so, of course, it's also a story of tragedy. A story about victims. A story about abuse, atrocities. And it's confusing. It's a story about the Save the Children Convoy, which tonight, I'm not sure where they're at. It seems to be falling apart. But that's not the story. The story is one that everyone needs to hear. And it is so strange, it has to be true. Because you can't make this stuff up. It plays out like a dystopian science fiction movie. But it's real. And even though it's real, it's all based on fabricated lies. All of it. And it twists your mind. It twists people's reality. And it makes them do things that they would otherwise probably not do. It's dangerous. And it's happening because of our governments. Our government, other governments, foreign governments. It's war. And we are the cannon fodder. We are the expendables. And we've been watching that play out over the past week. And it is tragic. I'll explain this. You're not going to hear this in this way anywhere else. Not like this. This is just straight up raw truth. I've been doing this live stream. Well, I resurrected this news channel during the original Convoy. And I don't know if this live stream will survive after tonight. Because frankly, I don't know if all of us can handle the truth. And I really believe that what I'm going to share with you tonight is the truth. And I know that a lot of you, you're not going to want to hear what I have to say tonight, because what I'm going to say is going to blow up your world. For some of you, quite a few of you. Some more so than others. It's crazy. They've been driving people crazy. On purpose. Why? We'll get into it. Don't go away. To understand this, you're going to need to watch for a little while, but this story will keep you keep your attention, and you're going to want to pay attention. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
To understand tonight's story about the Save the Children convoy, we need to go back in time. To a time when the internet was in its infancy. A time when Google was being created. Where did Google come from? Well, folks, it came from the CIA and the NSA. Google is now 25 years old. Just went past a birthday. And Google is today what it is because of funding and sponsorship from the CIA and the NSA, National Security Administration. And this is a story that I think, some people are aware of, but it's not widely reported. For obvious reasons. Back in the early 90s, the U.S. intelligence community went forward with an initiative with leading universities in the Silicon Valley. Spying agencies were out to create a means of tracking activities of groups and individuals and tracking organizations on the World Wide Web. You have to remember, this is back in the 90s, right? And the internet was still evolving. And by 1993, the U.S. intelligence community had launched Massive Digital Data Systems, MDDS, a research and development program. This was pitched to leading computer scientists at leading universities, including Caltech, Stanford, Harvard, MIT. And they faced challenges. But what they did is they wanted to achieve certain goals. And they took this challenge and they applied it to international surveillance. Google was created largely, originally, as a security tool. And I don't think back in the 90s that even the government understood the full power that they had before them. So they were using this as approaching this as an intelligence gathering tool. And over time, they realized that this wasn't just a surveillance tool. It was a tool that they could use to influence people, to manipulate people with search engine algorithms, controlling what you see, what you read, what you watch, what you don't see, what you don't read, what you don't watch. Clearly, the most powerful medium, communications medium ever created by man. Far more powerful than movies or television, and certainly more powerful than the printing press. So it's important to understand that the internet, which today is largely Google, is an invention of, a creation of, the CIA and the NSA. Now, that being said, don't think for 1 minute that other countries around the world are not using this technology as well. But in North America, in the West, it's Google that dominates, controls things, and these other governments are tapped into it, of course, for purposes of espionage, spying, controlling things. We've seen just in the past week or so computer hacking by hackers from India against Canada. Just another example of how we're dealing with things on an international scale online. But I digress. What we're dealing with here tonight is something cruel in my view. Actually cruel. And it's so complicated. I'm going to do my best. This is not scripted. I've spent the entire day compiling information on this, and I'm going to do my best to walk through this with you in a way that will help you understand what I'm sure has been going on and is still going on. Tonight, the Save the Children convoy seems to be falling apart. But man, it had some momentum for a while. But why did the people go? What was it that attracted people? What was it that motivated people to go? You know, when you listen to the reasons why they, it saved the children. Well, okay. So now you've got the internet. You have Google. Where did Save the Children come from? Where did this phrase, this idea, where did Save the Children come from? It came from, in this context, QAnon. It certainly did. In fact, here, I'll bring up this. So again, we're going back in time here. Save the Children is this concept of Save the Children. Nothing new. It's been around for a while. And I will show you. I think a lot of people simply are not aware of where this all came from. So here we are. You can just type in Save the Children and look at what comes up. This is, and again, these are just headlines, but New York Times, how Save the Children is keeping QAnon alive. That's from September 28th, 2020. Save the Children is pulling American moms into QAnon, again, 2020. Hashtag Save the Children, how a fringe conspiracy theory fueled blah, blah, blah. Says federal statistics show that child sex trafficking, blah, blah, blah. The great fake child sex trafficking epidemic, December 9th, 2021. I'm not here to defend these headlines. I'm just pointing out that QAnon was using Save the Children years ago. And in fact, the use of the Save the Children hashtag dates way back to the very beginning of QAnon. Back to a time just after the arrival of Donald Trump on the political scene, not long after he came down that escalator. And that is where Save the Children actually originated. Now, fast forward a little bit further into more recent times, 2023, and what do we have on the streets and in schools? We have government-funded drag queen story times for kids on one side, and freedom fighters and some political groups, but freedom fighters on the other side protesting. And in the streets over the past, especially the past year, we've seen things ramp right up and the emotions hit a fever pitch, and we've seen Antifa come to the forefront again at some of these protests. We just went through the Million March for Children here in Canada. I have learned that in politics, rarely, if ever, are there coincidences. And I think that that is the case right now as well. I don't think we're dealing with a coincidence here. So here is just one of many Million March for Children rallies that we just went through across the country. A very successful protest, one of the most successful protests in Canadian history.
Oh, many nights I slept in the truck on the way
This
down.
video was shot by Ron Clark.
Did you make it to Coots or were you at Mount Carmel?
Ottawa.
Oh, that's right. Well, do you know Jada Metcalf?
Yeah.
She's a very good friend of mine. We actually almost opened up Mud on 124 together.
Okay.
We used to cut hair together. I talked to her a couple days ago, and yeah, she's a real firecracker.
Yeah, I was chatting with her a little while ago.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Is it okay if we take a photo?
Yeah, that's
I'll send it to
you're familiar with what happened, and I don't need to keep going down that road. I just point out that the Save the Children theme extends into even that protest. And we know for a fact that the people who started the Save the Children convoy wanted to attach themselves to the Million March for Children, but were sort of rebuffed and asked not to get involved in that directly because they wanted to make sure that their event remained separate and free of anything that might not be family friendly, let's say. So that's what happened there. But again, this theme of Save the Children has been running through everything. Now, what else really fueled the emotions at these protests? Has been fueling the emotions at these protests? Well, we've seen people screaming at Prime Minister Trudeau, shouting at the top of their lungs, calling him a pedophile. We've seen people clashing face to face. We saw just before the Million March for Children, union leaders, hundreds of them across the country, in Canada, come out in a secret Zoom meeting, which was leaked, talking about how they were going to oppose with counter protests the Million March for Children. We saw all of that play out. Heavy duty politics in Canada. And I know from talking to people personally that the movie Sound of Freedom absolutely plays into this as well. People embraced that film on the freedom side. It was promoted within freedom groups. It absolutely was used as a political tool within the freedom movement to get people ramped up for things that were to come. Things like the Million March for Children and things like the Save the Children convoy. Now, the mainstream media and many other people say that the Sound of Freedom movie has direct ties to the QAnon movement. You might not realize it, but it does. For better or for worse, it's true. Mr. Caviezel, the star of the movie, has appeared at QAnon conventions. He talks about the very issue in that movie. Donald Trump also embraced that movie. Used that as a political tool. All the people on the conservative right, if you will, latched onto that movie in the same sort of way that the people on the left side of the political spectrum latched onto the Barbie movie. Okay? That's what happens. And of course, the freedom side did, because on the freedom side, it's rare to have a really successful movie like Sound of Freedom, and it's rare to have a piece of culture like that available as a political tool. But there it was, and it was used, and that's the truth. But there's even more in play here. Much more. Deeper. The internet. The internet. People are worried about 5G. Worried about 5G controlling your mind. And I've said this before. You don't need to worry so much about 5G. The thing you need to worry about is already in your hands. Your phone. Your computer screen. The CIA created Google. Google owns YouTube. Google basically controls the internet. They track you. They decide what you're going to see. Facebook is an extension of that. These major social media platforms. Twitter is an extension of that. These social media platforms have been used by intelligence agencies, security agencies from different governments around the world. They continue to use it every single day, use these platforms to engage in propaganda, information warfare, to shape public opinion, and even to create unrest, and even to destabilize and, yes, overthrow governments. Look at what happened in Iran with, Masha Amini, that young woman who was killed. And what followed? A huge information campaign that resulted in massive protests, not just in Iran, but around the world. That was not organic, folks. That was the result of an information warfare campaign, very likely choreographed by the CIA. And again, every government engages in this kind of activity. But that is the likely player over there because that makes the most sense. Who else would do that but the CIA? And it has their characteristics, their fingerprints all over it, if you will. Well, I've been digging into a lot of this over the past year. And as you know, I get concerned because some of our viewers are so far down into rabbit holes that I find it very difficult to pull some people back out. And I'll tell you this, some of what people believe is actually true. That is why it is so difficult to know what to believe and what not to believe, because truth, honestly, is stranger than fiction more often than not. Hard to know what the hell is going on anymore. Hard to know what's right, what's wrong. And then we just went through a period of time where the government basically screwed people over. Locked everybody down. Public trust in our institutions pretty much destroyed because of what government did. They beat people, literally beat people. And if they weren't beating people in the streets at protests like the Freedom Convoy, they were abusing people in their homes, frankly, who were on lockdown. And mental illness became a problem. And as people lost confidence in their governments and their public institutions, like police, the public has become desperate. You, me, we've all become desperate, searching for answers, wondering what the hell has happened to our country. Where do we turn? It has left many people very, very vulnerable. It's left you vulnerable. It's left me vulnerable. I've been emotional through this, through the past 3 years of this. 3 years of this. I get it. One of my relatives very close to me, gone. Why? Made. And it shouldn't have happened. Those are the kinds of things our government has been engaging in. Doctor-assisted suicide? Helping people who, honestly, many of these people should never qualify for something like that, but they do. These are the kinds of horrific things that our government is engaging in that has completely destroyed public trust, and I totally get it. But when people become desperate, it's easy to make a big mistake. And that mistake is to reject the abuser and then run over into the wide open arms of someone who says they have the solution without really checking it out first, to really understand what it is you're getting involved with. That, in my estimation, can be a mistake. But you see, people like to think of things in terms of black and white, right versus wrong, good versus evil, up versus down, left versus right, communism versus fascism. Real life doesn't work like that. But people have fallen into a trap. A lot of people. A lot of people. So as I've been digging into this, I've been working my way up the ladder, the information food chain, to try to figure out what's at the top. How does this happen? How do people get sucked down into these rabbit holes? What exactly is going on? And where does it lead? Well, folks, I'm here to tell you tonight that, in part, what we just saw with the Save the Children convoy in Canada is the result of this information warfare campaign. People who think they're awake, people who think they are pursuing freedom and maybe even finding freedom within groups or narratives where they're waking up, I'm here to tell you that, in fact, what you're going through is quite the opposite, and you're being mentally tortured. Oh, I know. You don't want to hear this. But here's how it works. It's not much different than a newswire service. I recognize the system because I've worked in media all my life. And that's what this is. This is just an information system. It starts at the top with someone controlling what stories are distributed, what stories are not. Now, I don't know that I've made my way all the way up the food chain, but I have found this gentleman right here near the top. And I'm not saying he's doing anything illegal or anything like that, but he pops up all over the place. His name is Todd Callender. He's a lawyer. He talks a lot about common law. He also gets involved in every zany, crazy thing, it seems, that seems to pop up. Most recently, right now, as of, about a month ago, this story is one that originated either with him or maybe a step above him on this information food chain. But I believe that Mr. Callender is very near the top of this food chain. And the story that I'm talking about here, and this is related to the Save the Children convoy. The story I'm talking about here is something that's coming up on October 4th that I mentioned before. A FEMA test of the emergency broadcast system using cell phones. So Mr. Callender here has spun up a story telling people that when this emergency broadcast system is activated in 2 days' time, the Marburg virus, which has already been injected into people because of their choice to get the jabberoonie, will be activated in their bodies, and it will spark a mass outbreak of the Marburg virus, and because of the 5G technology used, it will actually turn people into zombies. But Rick, what does that have to do with the Save the Children convoy? Everything. Everything. I'm going to show you a direct link between Mr. Callender's story. I'll show you how the food chain, information food chain works, and I'll show you the direct link to the convoy as this story unfolds tonight. It's an evil, sinister thing. I don't know if Mr. Callender understands what he's doing to people's minds. I suspect he does. I am saddened tonight because I think it's cruel. I think it's cruel. Stick with me. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get my thoughts reorganized again. We're going to get into the next chapter of this. There's a lot to unpack here, and you're not going to want to miss it because, especially if you're not already down that rabbit hole, this is a warning for you. I don't know, honestly, folks, if the people who are already deep down in there can be pulled out, but a lot of people tonight are living their life based on a pack of lies.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program. For your mind.
Okay, so a lot of you aren't going to like what I'm telling you. That's fine. This is truth. It's blowing up some people's worlds right now. I can feel, I can hear the heads exploding. But this is true. Let me play you the clip of Mr. Calendar here to explain, just so you hear exactly what it is he's talking about.
We think that one has already happened. We know that Marburg is not particularly contagious, but it has an extraordinarily high rate of fatality. And we know the mechanism by which this will be released. And that is inside of these shots that people already received, inside the lipid nanoparticles, the hydrogel, there exists pathogens inside of the particles that have not yet opened. Those pathogens are chimeric. They include E. coli Marburg, Ebola staphylococcus, and brewer's yeast, amongst others. We know that upon the broadcast from the 5G system that is now employed across the United States and the world for that matter, when they broadcast an 18 gigahertz signal for 1 minute, 3 different times as a pulse, it will cause those lipid nanoparticles to swell and release these pathogenic contents, thereby causing a Marburg epidemic that they've already spent the money on. It's already done, right? The Marburg epidemic, for purposes of the law, has happened. And now we just need the actual disaster to happen. And there's actually worse parts to it than that, including the 1p36 gene deletion that effectively will turn those poor people into zombies. As odd as that sounds, our government's preparing for that.
Right. I'm calling BS. I did before. And we'll put it to the test in 2 days' time on October 4th. I said this before. Let's wait until October 4th and see if zombies start walking around on the street, if your neighbors start being turned into zombies. Now, I assume this is only happening in the United States because here in Canada, we don't have FEMA. So that test of the emergency broadcast system won't happen here, but we'll see. So can we say that if we don't have a massive zombie attack, and I'll even give it a few days, if, you know, after people get blasted with the 5G on the 4th, I'll give it, what, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days? I don't care. You tell me how many days. And if we don't have zombie hordes walking through the streets, then let's say I'm right. And if instead we have zombies eating people's brains, like maybe even yours, then I'll admit that I was wrong. And if we have the zombie apocalypse, then I won't mind being wrong because I probably won't want to live anyway at that point. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to it. It's important to just take note that this story about the 5G stuff, it's all centered around frequencies. So many gigahertz this and frequencies on that. And they keep making reference to frequencies, frequency, vibrations. And so even though the 5G story is all very technical and scientific, there's a layer of mysticism and spirituality that also comes along with this. And even folklore and legend and science fiction suspense. It's a great yarn. One heck of a narrative. riveting. And for those who buy into it, horrifying. I know a lot of people are actually very worried about what's coming up on the 4th. So, if you go and look at Gordon James Barry, nice fella, his Facebook page, this is, I know there's no leaders of the Save the Children Convoy. Yeah, okay, whatever. Nevertheless, spokesperson, figurehead, whatever. Nice guy. I like Gordon. Go to his Facebook page and take a look. And what's the first post? Well, here it is. Gordon is worried about the Antarctic Treaty, QAnon stuff, Operation Paperclip, Nazis, Operation High Jump, Operation Deep Freeze, Operation Fishbowl. He's sharing this stuff out on his Facebook page. Project Bluebeam. Gravity is density and buoyancy. MK Ultra and trauma-based mind control, which is actually a true thing. 24-hour video of Earth rotating in space. Nazi Werner von Braun and Carol Rosen. Yep. Nazis, Nazis. Isn't that interesting? What do we just have in the Canadian Parliament? A real Nazi. And then he's concerned about save the children. Children need heroes because heroes give hope. Without hope, they have no future. That on an orange shirt, which he is part of. The orange shirt movement, I guess, is what they call it. And Gordon is apparently very spiritual in himself and talks a lot about vibrations. Vibrations, vibrations. In fact, I've noticed that theme all through this Save the Children convoy. All of the main players, at least the social media figures, keep talking about things like vibration. Raise your vibration. And here's another one. It says, there's a sacred energy guiding you on this post that he has shared from 2 days ago. There's a sacred energy guiding you. That's why lately you've been distancing yourself from who and what no longer serves you. Instead, you've now begun attracting and manifesting who and what does serve you, elevate you, nourish and inspire you to vibrate higher daily. Very mystical. And then there's the phoenix rising. Rising from what? The ashes? Another powerful mystical symbol. Yes. And Gordon is also, like many people in this spiritual realm who subscribe to, I'm going to say, this QAnon culture, not to say that he's a card-carrying member of QAnon, but so many people are involved in the QAnon culture without even really knowing it, that honestly is what this is. It's all related. But as a result of this, there's also the Galactic Federation. Now, this is another rabbit hole that Gordon has been going down. And please keep in mind that Mr. Barry is one of the people who has, I'm sorry for lack of a better word, but this is accurate, has been leading people into this Save the Children convoy. And I'm not criticizing, I'm pointing out. I'm just making people aware. Here's the Galactic Federation. Hang on.
Everything right now. We can see how many new souls are.
Let me bring this up. Okay. It's all about light and souls and even aliens.
Your own healing, the more you are significant by sitting in meditation or sending healing energy to someone or something. But I assure you this is not true. You are the ones who came to Earth to make a difference. You are the ones who came here to heal yourselves and bring light into this world. The more you work on your own healing, the more you are helping others. Light is changing everything right now. We can see how many new souls are entering this planet right now. Most of them are light workers, beings who came to help Earth during its ascension. This is why it is important for you to continue with your own healing and awakening process. As people awaken, they will begin to affect their environment in positive ways. They will be able to channel healing energy into their families, friends, and communities. The more people who connect with their heart energy, the more this will have an impact on the whole world. As you awaken and begin to love yourselves and others more, you will start contributing positively to the atmosphere of negativity that is currently around this planet. Even those individuals who are stuck in a dark reality will be affected by this change in vibration because everything is connected energetically. I appreciate all that you have done for yourselves, for each other, and for this planet. You have been through so much struggle at times, but know things are changing drastically. This is the time for more of you to give your life over to light work. It's time for you to be of service and help transform this planet into the utopia that it can be.
A promised utopia. All it takes is a little bit of faith, right? This messaging coming to people who have been abused. All of us abused for 3 years. Desperate for answers. Looking for community. A place to belong. Solutions. Freedom. Freedom. But what is freedom? What is it? How do you get to freedom? Awake. Wake up. But are you really awake? I'm not so sure. See, this messaging, is it real? The Galactic Federation, really? Is it showing us that we can see the aliens coming here? Gordon keeps talking in all of his, in virtually every video he's posted about this Save the Children convoy. He talks about keeping your vibration up. He speaks in these terms. Make your own reality. Create your own reality in your head. I mean, I get having a positive attitude. Athletes do that all the time in order to achieve things. They get a positive attitude and then they can achieve what they want to achieve. But you cannot stand against a sovereign nation state with a real military and police with an attitude or faith alone. Or faith alone. Takes a little more than just good vibrations like the Beach Boys sing about to achieve something substantial. I get it, but let's just listen to a little bit of Gordon. Nice fella. I like Gordon. We're just talking.
What I mean, if you're for freedom, this is freedom. And like I said, I don't know, man. The police, the military, I told you guys, this is your chance. You know what I mean? This is your chance. The police, you know what I mean? Active duty or retired or not, this is your opportunity to be on the right side of history, to do your job, which is to protect the people. I know the theory of your job. I know you're actually supposed to protect the criminals. I know that you swear your oath to the crown. I know all that stuff. It's all corporate bullshit. But I know when you signed up, before you understood all that shit and before you were taught the bullshit legal system and all of that crap, you signed up basically for the right reason, to protect the people. So this is where we're at now. This is the fight for freedom. And the same thing as I say about all the military guys, active duty or veterans. I know, you know, if you understand anything, if you've seen anything going on, you start understanding your life it's basically been a lie, and I apologize for that. That's a big weight to carry. I totally understand that. However, this is our fight for freedom. Everything that you went through in your life has brought you to this moment. You're still here today for this moment. You've learned skills that the average person hasn't learned. You have abilities that the average person doesn't have. So come, join us. This is a fight for freedom. This is why you signed up. This is why you put on that uniform. So be in the right place at the right time. And I'm telling you from personal conversations with some of these individuals that they are there, they are ready, and they're going to stand with us. We just believe in that. And again, faith. Go back to faith. Everything I'm saying is not scripted, obviously, because I spin it, and I don't. So if I get off sometimes on a little tangent, just bear with me. But talk about faith, and I talked about this a little bit the other day in the last video I did, and I want to get it out there more. But I want people to really understand that. So I'm not the God guy. I don't not say I'm not a believer. I'm not an atheist or anything like that. But when I say I'm not the God guy, I haven't given myself to Christ and all that stuff like some people have. That's why I say that. So that's okay. I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right thing. I'm spiritually in tune and all that stuff. But for those people, your whole relationship with God or Jesus is based on faith. You have no actual physical evidence of anything in your hand that's tangible in this matrix world. It's all based on faith. And I know you guys believe that, and I'm 100% for you for that. The reason I bring this up is that relationship is based on faith, and strongly it's built into you. It's built into you in your DNA and all that stuff. That's awesome. That's powerful. I'm asking you, if you can have faith in something that's unseen, if you can have faith in that, why can't we have faith in humanity? Why can't we have the same faith in humanity and brothers and sisters and men and women standing together to right this ship, to change this reality, to shift this friggin' bullshit, to save our future, to save the children, because they are our future. That's all I'm saying. That's all I mean by that. If you can have faith in that, which is great and magical and I love it, then have faith in your brothers and sisters standing beside you and coming together. That's all I'm saying. Have faith. Because that's what it's about. If we can have faith in something we can't see, but we're looking at our brother or our sister, we should be able to have faith in that. You see what I'm saying? So have faith in that. The energies are shifting. The tides are turning. That's why all this crazy stuff is going on. And it's all coming at us fast. And I knew this was going to happen. So we just stay calm. We relax. It doesn't affect us, because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I've said this for a long time. They know we're coming. They know this is coming. It's us because we choose to be part of it. But they know this is happening. They cannot stop this. Literally cannot stop what's going on. So they're panicking. But at the end of the day, all they're really trying to do, because they do know they've lost. This battle is already over. We're just going through the steps to finish this game. That's what's happening. This chess game, it's almost over now. We just have to take the steps. So why they're coming at us with all this craziness is, what's their end goal? Their end goal is they want to take as many souls with them, because they are evil people. They are demonic people. They are run by evil energies and dark energies. So they want to take as many people with them, as many souls with them. So it's not that they're trying to stop us. You see, you got to get out of the matrix programming. You got to see the 5D reality. It's really not that they're trying to stop us, because they know they can't. What's really happening is they're trying to take as many of you folks with them, as many of our brothers and sisters as they can with them, as many of the children with them to the dark side.
I understand religion, sort of. Mysticism, sort of. I also know that the cops are not going to switch sides, folks. And that's a recurring theme with the groups that keep offering people these false solutions. Tonight, I don't know exactly what's going on with this Freedom Convoy. Not a Freedom Convoy, it's Save the Children Convoy. There were people in Toronto. Seems like maybe that's fallen apart. There were people in Ottawa. Did it achieve the numbers that they said that they were going to achieve. They were talking about 3 million people. And I think that in their minds, in Gordon's mind, in maybe other people's minds, that they believed that that would happen. I knew that they would never, ever get 3 million people out to do what they want to do. The people followed it on faith, energy, a belief that this plan, the plan, trust the plan, that this plan would work, that people would show up, I guess, and when confronted by police, the police would turn their backs on the system and stand with the people, the protesters. So that the rest of the plan could be executed. And what is the rest of the plan? Well, we showed you the letter. Trudeau for treason. We've shown you multiple times different organizations over time with a desire to arrest the politicians, the bureaucrats, and hold open court, maybe even in the public square, to administer justice, not necessarily under Canadian law, but under a form of common law. Not going to happen. It was never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Not like that. And tonight, it's falling apart. Is it any wonder, really? These guys, how many times do we go through this only to have it fall apart? Because people are following blindly on faith. Why do people follow blindly on faith? Well, it starts, the system of indoctrination starts with, honestly, the common law, grains of truth and falsehood. And here's Gordon's brother-in-arms, Crow, Hammerhead Garage. And again, you know, I'm not, I seems like a nice fellow. But these guys have been going around the countryside out on the East Coast where they live, like many other freedom fighters, on the advice of common law advocates and gurus, handing out notices of liability to police and other services. And I've been telling people for a long time that that simply does not work, and you are wasting your time, because these notices of liability carry no legal or even lawful weight. And yet they've posted many videos over time, going into police stations, for instance, and serving these documents only to be rebuffed and told that no one will come out to talk to them, and then leaving convinced that the system is corrupt, when the problem really is that they're trying to play the game, but they're playing a different game. They're not playing the same game as the government. And the government is, like it or not, in charge. But here's Crow.
Just like the truck convoy was contagious. Don't listen to the naysayers. Okay? We're not an extreme right group. We're not of this. We're not of that. We're men and women.
Common law language.
All we are. Grassroots. Come up from the country. We came up from the country. Okay, we sprung up from the ground. That's where this came from. This has nothing to do with LGBT.
Doesn't it?
This has nothing to do with the other convoy. This has nothing to do with V4F or any of those other groups. This has nothing to do with Marcus Ray. This has nothing to do with any of that stuff. This has to do with a bunch of men and women in this country that are not going to sit around and let a bunch of Nazis, because what else are they? They're even letting them in the parliament now, control us any longer, or the direction this country takes any longer.
Well, it does have a lot to do with LGBTQS+, gay rights. It has everything to do with drag queen story times. It's all about Save the Children. It's about pedophilia. And what's worse than a pedophile? A Nazi pedophile. That's worse. It's a lot worse. How horrific and demonic is that? No wonder people are upset. No wonder people want to save the children. I totally get it. I totally get it. So that's what people are being fed. And over the past, especially the past year, that's been the story that people have been fed constantly on social media. If you've taken note of that or interest in it, they keep feeding it to you online through social media to fill your head full of that narrative. How much of it is true, you can decide, I guess, but it's absolutely an information campaign. Make no mistake. These kinds of campaigns can be based in truth, or they can be based in lies. Either way, they're using the information to manipulate people and get people emotional. That much is very, very clear. Very clear indeed. And here's Gordon again. And I believe this is where he really talks about the good vibrations. Let me just bring him up so you can understand.
He gets it, you know what I mean? It's frustrating, and he gets frustrated sometimes, and we even talk about it, but he understands, you know what I'm saying? Because we have to be careful. It's a spiritual war, man. This is not no massive physical war, and you know what I mean? People get afraid of that, but we got to step outside that matrix program, and you know, yes, there's going to be police, yes, there's military things, yes, there's this, yes, there's that, but the power of this is in the spiritual realm. That's where we win this battle, man. We're just taking these steps here. And if you believe in God, then talk to him. Go talk to him. He'll give you your answers. Don't get frustrated. If you're going to sit home because you're afraid something might happen, let me ask you this question. What is that going to accomplish? And I'm not judging you guys. Honestly, I want you to have these conversations with yourself. I'm just talking from my perception because I see things in this light. But if something is out there that you're afraid of, think about that and ask yourself the question. And if you're with God, talk to God. He'll guide you, man. When you believe in God, that's all about faith. That's what I mean, right? So you have to have faith. And now we're at the point where we have to have faith in humanity. We have to have faith in the movement. We have to have faith in what we're doing. We don't have any other options at this point. Because you know what? It could be your brother that's right beside you, shoulder to shoulder, that's going to tell you that he'll stand there till the bitter end. And it's up to him to do that. It's not up to you to make him do that. It's up to him to do that. That's how the world works. We have to have faith in each other. You know what I mean? And if we don't have faith in each other, we've already lost. And if we back off because of fear, we've already lost. We can't let that stuff happen because that's the only way they win, man. You know what I mean? When we stand there shoulder to shoulder, that's all we got is each other. And you know what I mean? That's the truth, man. We have to have faith in the one that's on our shoulders, man. Because if we don't, we lose. If you're doubting, you know, there's a million things, man. We've never been here before. None of us here have been here before. This is like brand new. Brand new. This is like, I don't know, man, world changing stuff. I don't know. It's just crazy what's going on here. But none of us have been here before, but we're faced now. We don't have any options left. And you look what's going on in the world, right? And I mean, it's not like we all didn't know this, but you see what's happening. They're paying no attention to any of our problems. They don't care about any of our issues. They don't care about the people that are on the edge of bankruptcy. You know how many messages I'm getting from people that are just on the verge and they can barely hold on, and not just financially, but financially and mentally, you know, and spiritually. Like they're ready to break, man. They're ready to break. You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to do, break our spirits. We can't allow that. We have to rise above that shit, man. That's the one thing we can control, is our spirit. They can control the economy and they make it hard to afford to live. They can control all that stuff with their bullshit inflation, all these things, with their bullshit inflation and all of that kind of stuff, right? But they can't control this. They can't control our spirit. They can't control our heart. That's up to us to control. So that's where we take our control. That's where we take our power back. We keep our vibration high. We continue to rise. We continue to stand, no matter what. We cannot allow fear to penetrate, because once that penetrates, it goes deeper.
But you see, these guys leading the convoy, the social media influencers, the people like Ron Clark, every night they fill people full of fear. Mr. Calendar, his story fills people full of fear. There are literally people out here tonight, maybe even you're among them. You're afraid of October 4th because people actually believe a zombie apocalypse will descend upon us. And yes, people believe it because they keep coming down the rabbit hole one rung of the ladder at a time in a systematic way. Pulled down, sucked down deep inside this dark, dark hole of fear. Think about that. What is the messaging? Don't breathe the air. It's toxic. Don't eat the food. The soil is contaminated. You're going to eat bugs. Well, that's true. There are a lot of things that we do need to be afraid of. But to repeat these negative stories over and over and over and over and over, constantly again and again and again, some of them true, some of them exaggerated, some of them grossly exaggerated, to the point where people think the zombies are coming to eat their brains this week. Well, if that isn't using fear to manipulate people, I don't know what is. Is that Gordon's fault? Probably not. He's actually pretty positive. He's using the mystical stuff, but he also talks fear porn. And it's sad. It's disgusting. I don't take exception with him or really any of these guys doing it. They know not what they do. They really do, I think, want to save the children, but this is not the way, in my view. This was a plan that was doomed from the beginning, but you see, it was never really a true plan anyway. We're just told to trust the plan. That's a QAnon thing. Trust the plan. Trust the plan. I don't know exactly why, but Donald Trump factors into all of this over and over again as well. He is like this deity among freedom fighters and QAnon people. And here's Trump factoring into that story on the 5G stuff and the zombie apocalypse. Trump will be king of the new America after the FEMA disasters. And this is a whole story about him literally coming to the forefront, rising to the position of king. I don't think so. But these are the stories that people are spun up. And these stories all seem to originate from similar locations, similar news sources, original news sources. And Mr. Calendar pops up there quite a bit. He also, this lawyer, pops up in Zoom meetings and other places online that I would least expect to find him. I've discovered Mr. Calendar in Zoom meetings discussing First Nations issues with the Asman Group, which directly talks about the Métis issue in Canada, First Nations issues in Canada. This is an American lawyer keenly interested in what's going on in Canada. He's not crazy. He's not a QAnon nutbar. It's not like that. He's a very smart guy. But he's near the top of the food chain, the information food chain, as far as I can see. And I just bring up his name to just illustrate how the system works. And it scares me. We'll come back to this again, because this is the thing that is a thread that weaves its way all through this story. And the Nazis, too, they factor in all through this story. Nazis. And isn't it odd that a Nazi showed up in Parliament in Canada just as all of this was happening? Isn't it odd? People screaming about it. We showed you this clip the other day, and I'll run it again here now, of the the Save the Children convoy at a truck stop a couple of days ago, where this man was speaking to the crowd, shouting out, talking about the Holodomor and about Nazis and Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister. What's more horrific than these stories of atrocities and genocides, mass death? The Holodomor is one of those stories. So too is the Holocaust.
To get away from Holodomor, to get away from the communists who drove us into starvation by the millions. Look it up, you fucking Google idiots. Look it up. Holodomor. Look it up. And you have who? You got Miss Freeland out there. You got this fucking Freeland out there holding an Asa flag.
Chrystia Freeland, Deputy Prime Minister, he says, holding an Azov flag, a Nazi flag, and a Nazi in Parliament. And get away from the communists. My God. History is repeating itself, folks. You think that this convoy was just something organic, or is it just about save the children? No. These issues, they're at the very heart of the matter. The Holodomor, the Holocaust, fascism, communism, globalism. Who's the enemy? We don't even know. We're shadowboxing, right? Who are they fighting? The government? Who's the government? Now suddenly you see they're not just there saving the children. Now, the people in that convoy, they were on a mission from God to fight Nazis. What's worse than a Nazi? A pedophile Nazi. The first thing you do when you go to war, if you're a government, is you convince the people that the enemy you create is less than human. You dehumanize your enemy. And isn't it interesting to see that the government has called the people in the Save the Children convoy and the Freedom convoy and the Freedom movement a bunch of far-right extremists, fascists, Nazis. And now the people in this convoy who have made their way all the way to Ottawa, sitting on the outskirts in a field, a farmer's field, at a Freedom House tonight, maybe in multiple locations still. Don't know. But they see the government of Canada as fascist, Nazis. Is it true? Is it accurate? I understand why people are upset. What could possibly be worse than a bunch of pedophile Nazis controlling the country? Trudeau for treason. Yet the problem here is that even though we've seen common law groups tell these protesters, I'll call them protesters, although I have in some cases called some of them unity revolutionaries in the past. And I'll kind of stick to that because I think that is their actual true motive, although their motives may be actually noble, at least in their minds. I've kind of, it's getting so complicated, I've almost lost my train of thought, but they feel justified in doing what they're doing simply because they are fighting not just Justin Trudeau as a human being, they're fighting demons, pedophile Nazis, monsters. I just watched a video last night with Jordan Peterson talking about the way Nazi soldiers were conditioned mentally so that they would actually go out and kill Jewish people, exterminate them. How they were manipulated psychologically, and that was back in the 1940s. Hate, anger, fear. I see so much of it filling people's hearts, hearts filled with darkness. And it's all coming through here. I get it, man. Like, I'm not happy with the government either. Not at all. Things have to change. But those who have fallen into this rabbit hole, those who drove down the highway, some of them from all the way across the country, you know why you went there. Some of you may be not aware of the plan. Some of you were aware of the plan. And we know that Veterans for Freedom revealed the plan, or at least part of the plan, and it was not peaceful at all. And why wouldn't it be peaceful? Because people somehow were convinced that the solution was to be not peaceful, I guess. Let me find you the clip. We'll run it here again in case you didn't see it. This is Veterans for Freedom. Gotta find it. Here we go. Nope. Way too many windows. Okay, I'll find it here. No problem. And Veterans for Freedom has taken quite a beating on this within freedom groups for exposing this plan. But I'll tell you, folks, they're just, honestly, they've been looking out for you. That's why they decided to put this information out. And I don't really blame them, because I know that whether you agree with them doing it or not, that is what their intention was to keep people safe and to protect whatever is left of this freedom movement in Canada. That was, I'm sure, their intention. And here's the recording that they made in a meeting that they released a portion of.
Telling them, I'm in the inner circle. I know. There's very few of us that are in the inner circle. I happen to be one of them. I know the plan. We're going to do a convoy, and we're going to Toronto. Toronto's the destination.
Oh, Toronto is the destination.
Not only Toronto, but we're going to go to the financial district in Toronto.
Yeah.
And we're going to surround that. And we're going to put blockades up, and we're going to hold that ground.
Okay.
And we're not going to move. And there's plans in place to make that work, the financial district.
Yeah.
Downtown
Yeah,
financial
okay.
district.
So you're, it's gonna be like a one block area?
It's a big area, but it'll probably be several blocks. But they're gonna block that whole area off. And we're gonna dig a home essentially. Now we already know what's gonna happen. We're gonna bring in thugs,
Yes.
like they did in Ottawa. They're gonna come in and move around us. But the plan is, when they get everybody in, so to speak, there's another larger group of people going to come in surround them. So now they can't move forward and they can't move back.
Yep.
They can't be resupplied. They can't be anything.
Yep.
We got them.
That's right.
Right. And no violence.
No, makes sense.
We're going to all have white flags, peace, 18 by 18 inches. White flag means peace, means parley as well.
Truce.
And if anything was to even come out of a gun, a projectile, a rubber bullet, whatever, from that side against the white flag, that's an international incident.
Yep.
You can ask any nation in the world that follows that protocol for help, right? One of those nations that happens to follow that is United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
And as you guys know, they're already watching this country intently.
Yep.
There.
They're not pleased about the Chinese infiltration.
That's right. No.
We have friends in the NSA that are telling us this. They see this shit happen. They're not happy. They can't just go outright and come through the border.
No.
They have to have a genuine reason for doing it. Right?
That's right.
And you're staying
We're staying until the government either is disbanded or is arrested. And we have a team in place to do that as well. Ex-military, ex-police. There's guys ready to do it, right? And a large group of people. I'm not talking small amount of people.
Yep.
So the numbers so far from what I've been hearing are what, 3 million.
Oh.
So we're not fucking around. All right. What are they going to do with 3 million of us?
Yeah. That's right.
Put 3 million of us in jail? I don't think so.
No.
Right. We got support of other people this time, right? Like not just white Canadians. We got a lot of folks on our side this time, right? And no one wants violence. None of those people want any of that for their kids, right? And I don't want it either. Nobody I know wants it, right? But if I'm attacked, I'm gonna in defense. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Okay? And we're ready for that scenario as well, right? We've got Lexan shields, we have gas masks, we have all that stuff, right? We're ready for it. It's gonna happen. Highway blockages are gonna happen. There's a band of natives in Quebec that are planning on burning a bridge. I don't agree with necessarily that, but that is what I heard. They're planning on burning a bridge. Leave with them.
There was a lady that was wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, violence. You're defending yourself at that point. You're not. You're not being defensive. You're not the aggressor. You're in defense. You're in defense. So actions in defense aren't violence, in my opinion. You're just defending your body autonomy, yourself. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I've got a new video coming up here, which some of you may be aware of. We'll run this to show you what's going on right now with this convoy. Here we go. Sorry, internet's freezing. And it's frozen. Come on, internet. We'll get it. It's stuck. Try it over here. Hopefully we can get it over here. Here we go. Yeah, I've got it on another window. Bring this up for you. This is what they were just posting.
Hello again, guys. We're back again. That was uncalled for. And I don't normally say anything bad about people. But let's get some people on here first. And then we're going to try this one more time. But I'm absolutely disgusted what just took place. All right. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to set the tripod up. We're going to have one more discussion.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come back with another live, and I'm going to explain what happened.
Yeah.
So,
Everything's been deleted. Because we need to understand that that was planned.
I'll explain a little bit more what happened here in a minute. Because, I'm disgusted.
Can't stop this. Nobody's exempt from what they've been doing. Nobody's. All right. So we got this live going. We're gonna do it again.
This went out far and wide, please, everybody.
I put up the addresses up there.
Can you do it
Okay.
around
We're gonna have
so while I'm
security.
holding his phone, I
Obviously,
can
we
keep
got
track of
security
you?
right now. But
So-
that's rectified already.
Hey, Canada, how's it going? How's it going?
Yes, how's it going, everybody?
How's it going, guys?
Here's Matt Venn,
That's
famous
right.
TikTok guy.
That's right.
Famous
Let's
TikTok
go.
guy.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, guys.
Well, since we're waiting for everybody here, that was Stand for Thee.
Yeah, it was a little bit horrible, but hey, what do you want to do?
That was Stand for Thee. That was
It's not us.
that was Jane Scarf. Just because this whole thing is not about her movement. She came in yelling and screaming. The gentleman that she brought in basically hit a guy on the way out of here, storming out of here with kids and stuff here. So as a paralegal, I'm ashamed, very ashamed of Stand for Thee. Okay, just letting you guys know that. I'm going to delete anything from Stand for Thee. I'm disgusted with them. That's not how we
Get
act.
everybody in here.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys,
Tell somebody to sit on the
Okay, so whoever's going to speak, I'll stand beside you guys for mine, okay, guys?
yeah. All right, man. So some people deleted their original live. I ran mine. The reason I ran mine and didn't delete it is because these people will hang themselves. The real fake people will come out and they'll hang themselves. That's the truth of the matter. We apologize for that. We came here with great energy this evening to share some awesome shit with you guys. Peace, unity, all of us together. No more hidden agendas, no more anything. So that's why this is powerful. All of us coming together, that everybody, this is going out everywhere, share it everywhere. So whoever wants to speak first, go. Let's do this. You tell them. This is first.
Guys,
This
that's
is
the
norm.
address. We have one address close to Toronto. We have one address close to Ottawa. That's the
Hold on, guys. I'll post it up.
To come and join. We need to be together and stand up together, guys. It's time. Pour tout le monde, c'est le temps. C'est les adresses pour venir nous rejoindre dans le coin de Toronto, dans le coin d'Ottawa. On a besoin d'être tout le monde ensemble. C'est le temps maintenant. On vous lance le go de venir nous trouver. Maintenant, it's time. We give you the go to come and join us. We need to be together and be strong together. So now you got the address. You can come. Don't say you don't have the chance to come and talk with us. Now you got people from all the country right now, today, on this land, right now. It's time. Jump in your car and come see us. Pour tout le monde, vous avez des gens de tout le monde, de partout le Canada ici, présentement, ce soir. C'est le temps de venir vous joindre. Vous n'avez pas d'excuse de dire que vous n'avez pas les adresses. C'est le temps maintenant. Venez-vous-en pour nos enfants. Save the children.
That's right.
Tell them the plan, Ron. Tell them the plan, then these guys go.
So tomorrow we are going to march into Ottawa, and we're going to show our solidarity for the MMIW. We will not be flying any flags of any sort, but we will be standing in solidarity with them. And then from there on out, we will be marching into Ottawa every single day. We will not be blocking any streets. We have the right to be heard, and we are not going to break any laws. And we will be marching every single day. I will be here for as long as it takes, marching every single day into that capital city that we have every right to do so.
Hey, everyone. Freedom! Let's go! Let's go! Okay, guys, seriously. There was a lot of stuff about this being violent and all that out there. You know, I had my doubts too here, but everything's changed. What we're going to do is we're going to get the people here, okay? We're going to get the people here, and we're going to show everyone that we can do this out of love and unity. And we're going to go places and just do legal stuff, but have our presence here for a long time. And we want people to join. We want you to come here. We want you to talk to us. We want you to communicate. We need you here. We're going to get more camps set up on properties for people. We want to be around, and we want to do peaceful things at all the cool places that need to be protested peacefully. Okay? That's the plan. And when we come together, we change everything. We change all of it. But we need to be together, and we need to be unified. We also need to raise our consciousness and our vibes and not fall for the hate and all these triggers. You've seen what happened on the last live, some of you? That's exactly what's happening right now in front of your eyes. Yeah. Everyone is being exposed. You can't hide from this. I've been telling you for 3 years. Yeah. You can't hide from it. It's happening. You just need to open your eyes and see it, okay? So let's all get together. Let's do some camping. We're in Ontario. Let's do some brainstorming and let's raise this vibe in this country. And for all you other people out there, get your towns going.
That's right.
Get your cities going. Get to the school board.
Let's go.
It's time for people to get together. You can't stop this. You just can't. It's prophesized about. And we're doing it. And we're going to do it out of love. And when everybody's going to join. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
We got to talk loud for everybody else. Don't
Well,
worry about this one.
Yeah.
Talk loud for them.
Peace, love, and friendship. Peace, love, and friendship. Health for all of us. Health for our children. We speak especially of the children, but it's really about health for all of us. All of our immune systems are being damaged by these shots because they're not vaccine.
Okay. So they're sticking around, and that's the message that I got this afternoon as well, telling me that they're sort of lying in wait, and now you're hearing that they'll be going in on a daily basis to protest in Ottawa. So that's where we sit with that at the moment. Don't go away. I'm going to come back in a moment, and we'll continue with more information about what's going on and how we got here.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So back to the Galactic Federation. We made reference to that earlier, which involves aliens, spirituality. We saw from the Galactic Federation video that they're telling people that we can see the aliens arriving through the air, I guess. That video also goes on to actually describe us as aliens, not originally of this world. Well, the Galactic Federation is something that even people in positions of power have made reference to over the years, including a former Canadian National Defense Minister. I'm going to suggest to you that the internet, this information war, is not affecting just people, ordinary, common people like you and myself on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to suggest to you that even some of our leaders may actually be exposed to this and ultimately maybe even controlled. Let me run this clip so you understand, first of all, the context that I'm approaching this from. And then we'll continue this story.
Claims. In 2013, former Canadian Minister of National Defense, Paul Hellyer, declared that the United States government and other governments around the world are working with organized groups of extraterrestrials.
Why do you say that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over our heads?
Well, because I know that they are. They've been visiting this planet for thousands of years. And there is what is called a federation of these people.
Paul Hellyer was a former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada and a former Minister of Defense of Canada. He was able to talk to a lot of important people within the US and Canadian system. And it was his opinion, based on the sources that he had, that there are many groups that are here visiting us.
Paul Hellyer is not the only government official to come forward with alleged knowledge of a federation of extraterrestrial races.
Recently, the former Israeli chief of space security, Haim Eshed, came out and said that there is a galactic federation and that indeed many world leaders know of and are in talks with delegates of the Galactic Federation. I don't know what to make of that claim, but when you have enough of them, a pattern emerges and it starts to take on a bit more gravitas in functioning as bona fide evidence.
Dr. Haim Eshed claimed that the extraterrestrials in this Galactic Federation were in contact with governments around the world. It's a fascinating idea and one that may well be true.
Should the sensational claims made by Paul Hellyer and Haim Eshed be believed, that close encounters of the fifth kind are occurring at the highest levels of government around the world, and with entire factions of extraterrestrial beings, ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and argue that recent revelations from world leaders may be preparing mankind for a groundbreaking event.
Thing about this is, when you have people like Mr. Hellyer, who is no longer with us, he has passed away. When you have people like him, people in positions of authority and trust, who have an image and air of credibility, it really accelerates the narrative, doesn't it? And when you put together a documentary like that and broadcast it on the History Channel, it gives it even more credibility, doesn't it? But is it true? Where's the actual evidence? He just says he believes it. I haven't seen any actual evidence. Mr. Hellyer has been gone for some time. And now we have congressional hearings into UFOs, but I'll put it to you. Are we any closer to actually knowing for sure what the truth is? I submit no. But it certainly fuels paranoia, speculation, and even fear. And so Gordon obviously is someone who partakes in the consumption of Galactic Federation information from their website and online video channels, and spends a lot of time talking about vibrations as a result. I just put it to you that if people are pulled down a rabbit hole, common people, who's to say that these people in positions of power also are not pulled down these rabbit holes? If this is a CIA thing or an SVR thing, or if it's the Chinese or some other foreign power, and we don't really know who might be doing this to us, wouldn't they want to go after people in positions of power and manipulate them? Hard to prove anything on either side in this discussion. but it's pretty clear that there's something going on. And there's a whole lot of lying going on. And there is an absolute information food chain. The Galactic Empire is certainly part of it. And this absolutely gets people jacked up to do things they maybe shouldn't do, and convinces them of things that are a little bit off the rails. Now, I like Freedom George, too. He seems like a real nice guy. But I think sometimes gets a little bit misguided. But at least he was honest about this today. He did post a video and acknowledged that the Veterans for Freedom video was, in fact, actually accurate.
And I just want you guys to all come together. I want you to heal yourselves.
I'm going to pause that. This is the wrong clip. I'm going to run this one first. I believe this is the one from today where he admits that, yeah, there was a plan. There was.
Things happening out there on social media, and I'm not here to bash anyone. Everyone is free to do what they want, and that's what I'm all about. So some people think it's the right thing to do this, and some people think it's the right thing to do that. So that's your freedom, and I'm going to stay neutral as I always do. So but I want everybody to know that I wouldn't be part of this if it wasn't going to be peaceful. Okay? Yes, there was some plans. The Toronto thing, and it was a good plan. I don't know, I liked it. I didn't know nothing about people talking about burning bridges and stuff like that. I never heard anything about that before. I wouldn't be here. So I want everybody to know that that I've been here for a couple days, and I've been talking with everybody, and I've been doing my thing, and this is going to be peaceful. Okay? I wouldn't be part of it otherwise. Yes, there was plans, and yes, people were talking before, but that is not what's happening. If it was, I wouldn't be part of it. As soon as we start wrecking infrastructure at all, we're done. Okay? As soon as we start wrecking infrastructure, we're done. So, cops all over Ottawa blocking the street. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's all right. We're not gonna just watch. Just watch. Everything's gonna be good, and it's gonna be peaceful. Where are you? I'm in Ontario. That's all I can say for now. Okay? I'm not telling anybody what is going on. We are in Ontario. There's lots going on. Everyone's gonna know soon enough, okay?
Okay. So, yeah. Yeah. There was a plan. There was a plan, just like there was a plan before. And there's a plan now. We still don't know exactly what the plan is. Well, I guess we know they're going to march in every day. So I know that, they're having a little trouble holding things together there tonight. I know some people have left because the whole plan has now changed, and that's okay. Hopefully people now will be safe, right? Maybe they can get things on track in a positive way. But how did we get here? Galactic Empire, Save the Children, QAnon, fear porn, an internet created by the CIA, foreign intelligence agencies, foreign governments with police stations in Canada, obvious information campaigns ongoing, people embracing leaders of this movement, like, yeah, I mean, I'm not a leader. I'm not yeah, okay, whatever. Well, the prominent figures then. When you understand everything is frequency, the universe becomes a symphony. It's all about the frequencies, good vibrations, the galactic empire. You are where you need to be, just breathe. And then, this is how you are seen by most governments and politicians, and there's a barcode at a slave. I'm going to come back to slavery at the end of this. Slavery. Think about it. What is freedom? What would make you a slave? What makes you a slave? These folks are offering you what they say is freedom, and I'm all for that. And I'm all for freedom. And it's enticing. Utopia, though? Well, here's somebody else who kind of went down the rabbit hole and went to Ottawa, or was on her way to Ottawa.
Hi everybody, Saturday night, August 26th. Just wanted to have some fun. See my little thing there. Lève donc le drapeau. I just wanted to have a little fun saying, hi ho, it's off to where I go. See you all in Ottawa, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho.
So the 5G thing. Let's come back to the 5G thing. Well, before we do that, let me just remind you that this happened in Parliament. And of course, this got people real jacked up, didn't it? The Nazi. Yaroslav Hunka. An embarrassment for Canada.
Zelensky's speech received at least a dozen standing ovations. There was also one for this man, a 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War.
And that got the people in the convoy even more jacked up, because now they were on their way to fight Nazis. A Nazi government. And they're still in Ottawa tonight, as we know. But the plan has changed. And for obvious reasons, and I would say it's largely because of the V4F video that came out. And again, folks, I wouldn't be too hard on those guys at V4F. They're good guys. And for what it's worth coming from me, I'm certain they did what they did because of their love of freedom, love of their country, love of all of you. I'm sure they did it out of love and concern to protect all of you from an ill-conceived plan that was doomed to fail from the very beginning. Because they understand how these things work as veterans. And they knew it could never work and would only end in disaster. They're honestly, they still are looking out for everybody. I'm certain of it. Now, I'm sitting here telling you that people are being pulled down into these rabbit holes, that they became involved passionately in the plan because of the information they're being bombarded with. Don't believe me? Well, the same language is finding its way throughout the leadership or the prominent figures, influencers within this convoy. And it's not just the Save the Children convoy. It has spread all through the freedom movement. But even George, listen to what he says here. And I mean, if you already think the same thing that he's about to tell you, if you think that what he says is true, then you're free to do that. But I'm gonna sit here tonight and say that this is not stability. Okay? This is not true, what he believes.
I know it's hard. It's taken me a long time. And I want you to get up, get out there, use your voices, use whatever you can. There's gonna be nothing left if we don't.
Fear.
There's gonna be nothing left. And our kids are gonna grow up in a dystopian world with nothing, with no control over their own lives. I won't have it. I want to die on my feet, not on my knees. So, I encourage everyone, please, do something. Whatever you can. Everybody's got different ideas, coming at it from different angles. Do whatever we can. Hit them with as much as you can. Phone calls, emails, flood them. Just let's stop this any way we can, you guys. As a human race, you need to understand that. We're going to keep going down this road until we become
This is
human race.
all basically, yeah.
Not natives, not whites.
But what he's about to say, listen.
No racism. We need to become one. That's it. That's how we stop it. And until we do that, we're just going to keep fighting. Oprah is part of the problem? Yeah. Another thing. Man, we can go on for hours here. Where did all those kids go? Where are the children of Maui? All sent home from school. You know, I shared a video on TikTok. Somebody was zooming in with the Google Maps. A bunch of buses missing. There before, not there after. Where are the buses? Right? And to people, you know, that island is the heart chakra of Earth, right? So there's very, very dark forces at work here. This spiritual war that's going on, trust me, it's real. I've seen one before, over top of me, just out here. I never got to actually see what was going on because it was kind of cloudy. But the lights were just going off above me. I've seen things. I know what's going on. The spiritual war that's happening right now is intense. And I feel it. And I've seen it, like I said. So we need to stick together. Do your praying. Get in touch with your higher power. Let's go. 2,000 kids missing. Yeah, I seen that. That's that come from the school board or the school, whatever over there in Maui, missing from schools. Tunnels. That's right. Tunnels. There are tunnels that connect this whole Earth, basically. They can travel under everything. And they go fast. Real fast. They've been there for a long time. All right? Watch Alex Jones. He has a video of where kids have gone. I haven't seen that one.
Okay. You can believe what you want. There are not tunnels all through the earth connecting everything that the elites use to travel fast. No, there are subways and there are some underground things, but not like that. It just isn't true, folks. And the missing children, 2,000. Well, again, you can believe what you want, but since those posts were made, it has come to light that, in fact, this is what we've come to learn, and you know, talk about this has stopped, probably because they've found the children. In fact, not 1,000, not 2,000. There's one. One child. That's a pretty big gap. Did anyone even hear about this? The people who told you that there were 1,000 or 2,000 children missing, that they were taken away on buses secretly. Did any of them bother to correct themselves? We have people sitting in Ottawa tonight saving the children, in part because they're upset, because they still think there are, well, in Freedom George's case, he thinks there are still 2,000 children missing in Maui that have been taken away on buses secretly to be abused and maybe even killed. And it just isn't true. But man, gets you pretty upset thinking about it, doesn't it? And a lot of people got really upset for quite a while. A lot of people are still very upset about it. And where did that information come from? Online. What did I do when a lot of this stuff was being talked about in Maui? I was saying, wait a minute, that's not right. This isn't right. That's correct. That's obviously factual. Not so sure about this. Let's wait and find out what the facts are before we listen to some online person who's maybe just looking for clicks, or maybe someone who is engaging in information warfare in order to further the save the children narrative, because for them, it's not about saving the children. And I'm not saying that child sex trafficking isn't a real problem. It certainly is. But we need to be dealing in actual facts and not let people manipulate us emotionally to indoctrinate us and to get us to do things we maybe ought not do. But there he is. There's George talking about these. It just shows that, you know, you can't tell from just looking at someone what is in their mind. But when they speak, it can reveal a lot. Well, that whole narrative, the missing children, the tunnels, that's all Q. All QAnon. All QAnon. And I'm telling you that, well, not everybody who went to that convoy, not everybody in the freedom movement is down a rabbit hole that far. Some are. It starts with an introduction to the common law narrative, reminds people's trust in the system, in our institutions. It's done on purpose. Once people are convinced that the government system, not just the government itself, but the system is not legitimate, it becomes very easy to pull you down the rest of the way. And again, I'm not saying that everything that people believe or everything that we're told is a lie. but a lot of it is. And if it isn't a lie, it's quite often, and usually in this case, a massive exaggeration designed to create more paranoia and fear among those who are being indoctrinated. I submit to you that it is happening not just on the freedom side, but also on the neoliberal woke side, the government side, on all sides. We're all being subjected to it in one way or another. You might even argue that people who watch MSM or mainstream media are indoctrinated in that way. You can make your own decisions on what the reality of it all is. But what I'm laying out for you here is clear-cut evidence. Some of it honestly anecdotal, but some of it just straight up in your face factual. I'm showing you that George believes those stories. Those stories are, as a matter of fact, QAnon based. The tunnels through the earth. It's not true. In fact, you can't put a tunnel all the way through the earth. You could make some tunnels, but there is not a worldwide network of tunnels that the elites use. I'm sorry, but the information system is used to spread this kind of mind-twisting information. And it begins with people like Mr. Calendar. How does it work with him? Well, he is one of the people who will essentially make an information snowball. At the center of it, a little bit of truth. And then more snow is packed around it. And he gets involved in Zoom meetings or releases the information in some other way that gives it some image of credibility so that he can be seen as an authority or someone else that he's associated with. And I'm not trying to single him out, but I am, because he's one of the people sort of at that level of the hierarchy of the information food chain. And here's how it works. He puts out that initial story about the 5G zombie attack coming up on October 4th, where the Marburg virus will be activated in people's bloodstreams, which I'm calling out as not factual. In fact, I'm going to call it out as a fabrication, propaganda, a bizarre piece of mind control. And don't forget that MK Ultra is actually a real thing. MK Ultra mind control, MK mind control. There's a lawsuit ongoing in Canada right now over experiments done way back in the 1960s. But how far do you think the technology has progressed since the 1940s, the 1950s, the 1960s? Mind control experiments conducted by the Nazis. And then continued on after World War II by doctors even here in Canada and in the United States. And do you think they've stopped? I suspect not. Do you think that they're maybe engaged in more of this right now? I suspect so. A grain of truth. FEMA. You know what else they make reference to? FEMA documents. A number of years ago, not very long ago, FEMA came up with a zombie response plan. It's true, they did. It was even posted online. And many people today who further this narrative about zombies at various times, regurgitating it, resurrecting the zombie narrative now, they'll point to that FEMA plan. The thing about the FEMA plan, though, is the truth of that is that the FEMA zombie response plan was actually just an exercise, a drill, a training exercise that they concocted And it was done in such a way, it was so, they used the zombie apocalypse because they said that they wanted to create something that was so absurd that no one could possibly believe it. And yet people, even though it's been taken down off the FEMA website, today some people still point to that and say, you see, they're preparing for the zombie apocalypse, and then the 5G thing coming up on October 4th to get people fearful. So after Mr. Callender posts or goes online as part of that meeting where he's discussing this, or I guess it was actually a first-tier interview, the story gets fed down the food chain. So who picks it up? Greg Reese, InfoWars, next. I'll show you. And this is how information flows. Not unlike a newswire service. I'll bring this up, and I'll just let a little bit of this report roll. And he pops up, Mr. Callender pops up in this report.
Military attorney Todd Callender is an expert in international law and mortality law. He's been filing lawsuits and blowing the whistle on the enemy ever since they made the shots mandatory. These lawsuits have led to his research team amassing thousands of whistleblowers that point to a planned Marburg epidemic, already paid for by taxpayer dollars in the recent PrEP Act. Todd Callender said that inside the lipid nanoparticles, there are sealed pathogens, including E. coli, Marburg, and Ebola, and that different pathogens can be released by different frequencies, pulsed through the 5G network.
Inside of these shots that people already received, inside the lipid nanoparticles, the hydrogel, there exists pathogens inside of the particles that have not yet opened. Those pathogens are chimeric. They include E. coli, Marburg, Ebola staphylococcus, and brewer's yeast, amongst others. We know that upon the broadcast from the 5G system that is now employed across the United States and the world for that matter, when they broadcast an 18 gigahertz signal for 1 minute, 3 different times as a pulse, it will cause those lipid nanoparticles to swell and release these pathogenic contents, thereby causing a Marburg epidemic that they've already spent the money on. It's already done, right? The Marburg epidemic, for purposes of the law, has happened, and now we just need the actual disaster to happen. And there's actually worse parts to it than that, including the 1p36 gene deletion that effectively will turn those poor people into zombies. As odd as that sounds, our government's preparing for that.
He also points
No. So what does this have to do with the convoy? It has everything to do with the convoy. Yeah. What got people to come out to the convoy? Fear, anger, frustration, impatience, a desire to make a change, Trudeau for treason, save the children. A number of different things, lots of different things, chemtrails. The age-old conflicts over whether the Holocaust is real or the Holodomor is real. What's real? Which side are you going to take? Got to go fight the Nazis. Got to stop the 5G Marburg epidemic coming in 2 days. I heard some people this week make reference to it, including this guy here. And man, the narrative, the language, it is spot on. He's got it down word for word. This guy's out in Eastern Canada trying to get people to go out to Ottawa, but for those who can't, he's also trying to recruit people to protest on Canada's East Coast and the Maritimes. But listen to the way he talks. He's got this narrative down. So the information flows all the way down to him, and it is now being used as a tool to recruit for the Save the Children convoy. I'm just saying this is how the information food chain system works. It goes downhill all the way to him so that he can then use it as a tool for this event.
How you guys doing tonight? Drop a thing. Hope everybody's having a good night. We're gonna talk about some interesting things here. We'll give it a minute. Let some people get on. Hello, hello. See some people popping on here slowly. We got some interesting things to talk about here. I'm going to keep it fairly short again because Bell can't figure out their ass from their head, and they're supposed to come fix the internet today, and they made it worse. So we're still in the data. But I missed doing this so much, and I had so much fun last night that I couldn't let another day go by. So I had to pop on here for a few minutes at least, and there's some pretty important information we got here. Some won't take it seriously, but you should. You definitely should. Good evening, folks. So, the big question, you know, a lot of people saying, you know, this isn't the right time. Well, when is going to be the right time? That's the big question, right? When is going to be the right time? Because we're so close to them literally taking away everything. Like, we're that close. Anybody who thinks we're not is not paying attention. The UBI is ready. The digital ID is ready. They got the new jab ready. What more do they need? They don't need, all they need to do is push the button. So why are we going to wait until we're backed into a corner we can't get out of? This won't be a corner like before. Then they organized and we went to Ottawa. When we're backed into this corner, there's no getting out of the corner.
Are you afraid yet? He's backed us into a corner. Now we're cornered. And wasn't this about saving the children, but now it's about digital currencies and all these other issues again? You know, okay. But, you know, be afraid. Be very, very afraid, right?
It's important people realize that. And we've also got, you know, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't even think about. A lot of you have heard me mention the fungi in the blood cells. Your red blood cells cannot process what is in the vaccine, the graphene oxide, and it creates a fungus inside your red blood cells because it cannot process them. And what did we say was going to happen when all that fungus interacts with a certain frequency? It's going to cause people to do some pretty wild things. This is all fact. This is all documented.
Is it? Really?
But nobody wants to talk about it yet.
I'm talking about
Well, we've got a warning for October 4th.
it. Uh-huh.
FEMA is up to something.
Uh-huh. I can tell you
I'm
what.
going to put some stuff in the comments here when when I'm done this, so you guys can see what we're seeing here. But if you Google 1P36, it comes up with this, okay? Fear, 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 Chad Moffat. Fact, 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 bro. 1.1p36 deletion syndrome is a chromosome disorder that typically causes severe intellectual disability. Most affected individuals do not speak or speak only a few words. They may have temper tantrums, bite themselves, or exhibit other behavior problems. Now, there's also a FEMA has released a number there, and it's 10-4-23222. Well, our warning reads October 4th between 2 and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be 10-4-23222. I strongly believe, folks, that on October 4th, they are going to crank up that 5G. And any evidence pertaining to it also points to that. So October 4th, let's theorize here for a minute. Let's say October 4th, and we're right about this. They turn up the 5G. What are we going to do then? When it's an absolute shit show. There's a lot of people, and I'm not talking down to anybody by any means. Everybody's got their own life. Everybody's got their own shit. But we have been fighting for so long here. For so long, we've been waiting for something. For so long.
Uh-huh.
And I just found out tonight that not only is barely even anybody leaving this province to go, which is fine. Not everybody can do that. But there's about only 3 or 4 who are willing to actually make a stand here in support. And that just boggles my mind. Are we really at that point? Because I seem to think we're at a very different point. And I don't understand why people are able to just be so patient and want to wait right now. What are you waiting for? Because you're never going to feel comfortable with doing what we're going to have to do. In fact, it's only going to get more uncomfortable as we go. And we're going to lose less opportunity. We're going to have less resources. And they're going to have more of an upper hand. They are scrambling right now. They are scrambling right now. And we've got people saying, oh no, we're just going to see what happens there. We're just going to see what happens. Well, that right there is the problem. If we had everybody walking as one, we would know what happens. But we have everybody unwilling to walk as one. We will fall divided, folks. We will fall divided. So we better fucking unite pretty quick. Because there's a lot of people about to make a stand. And there's a lot of people who don't seem to even care. Well, let me tell you, you're going to care really soon. You're going to care really soon. And you're going to regret not giving this the time of day. So I hope people are paying attention over the next couple of days. And I hope everybody's kind of got in their mind, okay, well, let's just see what happens. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. Maybe this is it. Because it's going to be. And, you know, it ended up being organic before. And we're hoping it's going to be again. But there's a lot of people not even paying attention. And it's hard to see. It's hard to see. Because if you think we're going to make it to Christmas as life as we know it, you are strongly mistaken, and I would bet my life on that. There is no evidence or any signs of anything to show that they are going to let this go any longer than even 2 months. Everything is ready. In fact, it cannot sustain itself past Christmas. So I don't understand what people think they're waiting for. But there's never going to be a comfortable time. This is uncomfortable times. It's never going to be like, ooh, this looks like an easy day to do it. No. Shit's going to get wild for a little bit. And the longer we wait, the wilder it's going to be and the smaller our chance is going to be. We have a big thing coming. I hope everybody's ready for it.
What's the date today? It's the 2nd, right? What day is it today? Is it Monday? Yep. Monday, October 2nd. So it won't be tomorrow. It'll be Wednesday. The zombie apocalypse comes Wednesday. There's the test. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. Will there be a zombie apocalypse on Wednesday? If you want people to do something, why don't we just try truth? Just be straight with people. I've been saying this for a long time. If you want to win, truth is the only way. If you want freedom, real freedom, it has to be based on truth. You see, this QAnon stuff, which even Alex Jones has at times rejected, it's not based on truth. It's based on a psychological construct, a created reality for people, a matrix. Gordon makes reference to us living in the matrix. I wave my hands around, but I'm actually in a digital universe looking at you right now. But in my reality here, where I'm breathing air, he's saying that's the matrix. It's real here, folks. They're off. They say that these common law folks, they say that there is no Canada, that there is no United States. You ask Gordon, he'll tell you that no country actually exists, no government, that it's all just a myth, it's made up, that you're just a man or a woman. And while what he says there is actually true, the rest that follows is misguided, because Canada is a sovereign nation. As the convoy participants found out today, and over the past week as they were driving around again, burning up gas, trying to figure out what to do as everything went wrong. I respect that they want to make change. I respect that they want to stand up and do right by Canada. And I respect that they want to save children. Who wouldn't want to? But when I look into their eyes, when I listen to what they're saying, when I look at their actions, when I examine their plan, it's very clear to me that these folks, the people actually trying to lead you, lead us, lead this country to something better, they're leading us further down a rabbit hole. They think they're awake. Maybe you think you're awake. But how can you be awake if you're living in a state of constant, and how can you be free if you're living in a constant state of fear, paranoia, being fed information that I've demonstrated to you tonight is very likely only partially true or maybe even completely false. 2,000 children missing in Maui? Wrong. But boy, people sure did get upset. And how far did that go? All over the world. Save the children. QAnon. Found its way all the way into the Save the Children convoy. In fact, when QAnon started, they used the hashtag Save the Children. It caused conflict and problems for the Save the Children charity at that time. They still use it today. The QAnon people do. You can look it up. It's well documented, this conflict between QAnon and the Save the Children charity, which of course sends aid to starving children in third world countries. And then this Save the Children convoy, do you really think it's a coincidence that they're using the exact same hashtag Save the Children? No. Of course not. And then to have the people leading the convoy, even though they say they're not leaders, but you know, using QAnon language, wording, phrases. Of course, it's all Q. They probably don't even realize it. MK Ultra, CIA, Internet, constant, repetitive messaging, fear porn, being delivered 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year through this. You want to be free. You want to be a free, sovereign citizen, have sovereignty over your own person, over your own humanity. That's what they say they promise you. Personal sovereignty above the nation state, which apparently doesn't exist, where it has no authority over us, whatever they think. The point being, they're offering this idea of freedom. They think that we're all being freed by plunging down these rabbit holes to become awakened somehow. But if the information that we're being fed is demonstrably false and has you living in a constant state of fear to the point where you are convinced that the only solution is to travel all the way across the country to, I'm sorry, overthrow the government and get violent, and you heard an admission that it's actually true, and you heard the recording that that was the plan. Again. Is that freedom? Think about that. And you have probably leaders in government, bureaucrats, politicians, people at the top, even some of the elites subscribing to this kind of ideology. I would say maybe even a religion. Vibrations, frequencies. It's almost like worshiping a false god. But you get people in positions of power suffering from the same kind of mind control or indoctrination or whatever it is that people are being put through. And I think we have a very dangerous situation on our hands. And as far-fetched as all this may seem, truth is stranger than fiction. And given the state of our technology today, the way that no doubt psychological techniques and even brainwashing techniques have no doubt evolved, developed, advanced, of course, this is possible, even probable. That's why we've seen social media platforms like Twitter make requests to delay service on internet systems so that they could get their messaging out to the masses, in some cases, to facilitate intelligence operations to create instability in countries. It goes on all the time. We just think it can't happen here because, oh, it's Canada. And even as people have lost confidence in our own government, isn't it very clear that people still are of this mindset that how could that possibly be happening to me? That would never happen in Canada. I'm immune. No, we would never have a color revolution in Canada or any kind of political instability in that way, even as they're participating in something that is destabilizing everything and is designed to do exactly that. So when people show up in the streets from mass protests in places like Iran, because of information warfare campaigns initiated by the US government and the CIA, that's understandable. But that spread all the way around the world. That wasn't just there. Same thing's happening here now, folks. Be very, very careful. Be aware. That's all I'm saying. Be aware that this is very likely happening. We're all being subjected to it. And I can see it clearly among many people within the freedom movement. It's spreading like cancer. And we just saw the result of that today, where this whole thing has sputtered. It came close to becoming maybe even violent, which is absolutely wrong and does nobody any favors. Keep the peace. It's the only way. Now you may disagree. You can do that. But I stand with V4F on this one. Their decision to release that video might have saved lives. Might have saved whatever is left of this freedom movement. But the cancer is still there. I've been telling people for a long time now. And you know, I'm not upset with any of these guys trying to lead something. All the guys who appeared in the video. I'm not really upset with any of them. They are not my enemies. Maybe they think we are, because I want peace. I don't want a revolution. But they're not my enemies. In fact, I feel for them. I see them suffering. We all are. But especially those who believe they are free, when in fact their minds have been entrapped with a web of lies. That's not being awake. Quite the opposite. That's enslavement. folks. We're going to wrap it up there. I'll be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you, y'all. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.